The biggest piece of this puzzle, when you really think about it, is that you have no choice other than being under the rule of some empire of this world, right? And people might phrase it, or the governments might phrase it as, oh, we're doing a good service, we're providing something and you're getting something back. But in reality, you had no choice from the beginning. From the beginning, you were locked up. You were born a slave, Neo. And you weren't asked at birth, you weren't asked at age 13, you weren't asked at age 18, you weren't asked at age 21. This kind of goes back to, I don't know if I said this in another video or in an upcoming video where I'm going to speak about how the U.S. is in a democracy, how no democracies exist, is this idea of how, people always talk about voting. Oh, vote. Yeah, make sure you vote. Make sure you cast your vote. Make sure, because your voice matters. Power to the people. But you realize you're always voting within a certain system. You're always voting for one over the other. You're not voting, to change the fundamental aspects of the system. You could say that lawyers and judges and, people that actually, politicians, that change the law, like lawmakers, they're the ones that can fundamentally change some things. But at the same time, even they can't, right? It's like, possibly you could say that lawmakers could change the idea that Congress is bicameral, and which means that there's two houses, there's the House and the Senate. It's pretty much most places, and some variation of that in the world, and it's all the same everywhere you go, which makes you realize it's obviously one person or one entity that's controlling it all. But yeah, I guess the whole point of this video was to say, me sitting and realizing, like, why do I have to wake up every day and sort of think that I have to change the system? Like, I have to, I don't want to live in this reality, but there's no, there's nowhere I can go where it's like, oh, I just want to move out of I want to move out of every country, like, I don't want to be a part of a country. And you realize that, when I was thinking about the situation, I was like, what if everything was peaceful at one time, and that would be great. And then, but you wonder, like, well, what if a bad guy, the infamous bad guy, this trope that doesn't exist, but what if some bad actor, decided to impose violence on everyone, and being like, you're gonna live under my rules, and you wake up and you realize, like, that actually happened, and that's the world that we live in. Is that people with bigger guns, just like the beginning of the introduction of Frank Wilderson's, book, Red, White, and Black. It's just who has the bigger guns. It's not a question of like, oh, whatever. But yeah, I don't know if my point is getting across. I guess all this is just to say, like, there was no choice to begin with. You were never given a choice to accept the world that you live in. I think connected to this is another idea that I had about making this video, which is, oh shit, what was it? About you have no choice. I forget, it's gonna come back to me. Maybe I'll make it another video, but yeah, basically how you have, you had no choice. By the way, that's what it was. It's that when you come into this world, you're not told to redesign it how you want from the ground up. You're not told to live life how you want to live life. You're not told to do this. You're taught from day one a fucking language. Like, everybody, in the United States, not everybody, but generally speaking, it's always about, oh, what are the baby's first words? Mama, dada, like, so from day one, from birth, you're indoctrinated. From day one, you're input into a system. You're, none of this is with your consent at all, and it's like, whatever happened to consent, the age of consent, or even if you give somebody the age of consent, what can they really do? At the end of the day, you're under a terrorist organization, which is any country, you could call it whatever country you want to name. You're in a terrorist organization that has weapons that will, and they have bots, which are, the police, law enforcement, sheriffs, FBI, CIA, all these people that knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or subconsciously, are enforcing these rules. And you have the you know, once, and, you know, they had the Edward Snowdens and all the other people that, you know, wake up and realize, like, I don't agree with everything he says, but, you know, he has a different view on a lot of things. But, you know, you have the people that have their consciousness and be like, wait, like, some of these things aren't right. But you have a lot of people that are just bots, right? That are just enforcing what they're told to enforce. All that to say, again, you come in this world, you have no choice. But even worse than that is that even when you have when you're at the age to sort of wake up and realize, like, wait, I've been told what to do my entire life. I've never been asked what I want to do, how I want to live. I've kind of just been forced to be like, oh, like, yeah, you got to get a car so you can drive on these concrete roads, and you got the buildings are made like this, and this is the building code. And this is another idea that I was having about putting in a video about school, how even the idea of school itself is kind of fucked up, because it's like, it's not teaching newness or innovation. It's teaching regurgitation, you know. It's, and not even like regurgitation in the sense of like, oh, you have to memorize things and, you know, dates and numbers and things like that, but it's more of the fact of just like, somebody's just looking at me, so I'm like kind of off. All right, so it's more of like they're teaching you what's already been done, right? They're not sitting you down and asking you, hey, what's a new language we can come up with? What's a new building structure we can come up with? You know, they're always showing you what has been done, which is like, yeah, you know, and think about where that leads people in history when they're like, oh, this person just disproved this theory or whatever, you know, like, or just anything, you know, like I just always, you know, think about sometimes like driving on the road, like looking at buildings, I'm just like, who thought this was a good idea? Just a square box, you know, pipes, like all this shit is so inefficient, bro. Like, and it just teaches you how the makers of this world never had our interests. When I say our, I kind of just generally mean general people's interest at hand. They never really cared. It was never about what was best, it was about what was easiest. Same reason we drive around in metal boxes. You know, this is not the best way to get around places. You know, you see ideas of people that are like, oh, like, you know, put like magnets on cars so that they never crash into each other. It's like, well, obviously there are pros and cons to that, but you just think there are just so many more innovative ways that you could create things and do things, and then you realize it's just like, oh, that was never the point. The point was to make you work all day, every day, siphon your energy. And then when you're conscious enough to realize, like, hey, you know, maybe I don't want to live this life. You know, maybe I don't want to live life like this. You realize, in the words of Ryan Trey, there's nowhere to run. So I guess that's it for this video. Also, sorry I haven't been like too much talking about my personal life too recently, which I want to in these videos. I was just, you know, getting paranoid as usual in this world of like hyper surveillance and you know, everything being fed into AI, and, you know, thinking like, oh, like, but I don't know, I think part of that's ego, part of that's just general fear and whatever, but still living in my office space. It's been a couple months now, I guess, but since the beginning of September, so man, almost basically a few months. Just getting, you know, more money situation is, you know, it could be worse, but I'm at a safe space now where I could be like, okay, I need to build up some sort of wealth while I'm in this plantation, you know, so I can protect myself if something goes wrong, you know, because that's what all the officers enforce around here. So sometimes I think, like, you know, why did I choose to come to this world? Like, deep down in my subconscious. And then I was watching this video, part of this video, with like another Elon Musk interview talking about there's a high probability we're in a simulation. And you know, that's where Akron Loomis came from. That's where simulation is simulacra, inspiration, the Matrix, and me thinking about how obviously the whole, David Icke's books even, and how everything's like kind of computer code in the world and math. Thinking like, did I choose? Who am I? But then I always think again, like the video that I posted yesterday. Hopefully it's yesterday by the time I post this, about how language is a trap. It's just like, was I trapped with language? Is there no I? That's the whole thing. It's like you spend, when I'm 26, almost 27, then you're like, wait, maybe I isn't the word. Maybe you isn't the word. All these words that we're taught, all these concepts, ideas, realities, ways of viewing the world, they're just boxes. Hold our imagination in. So, all that to say, you were born a slave, Neo. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I just always think like, okay, what is the goal here? Like, what am I doing? And then I think like, is there a goal? Is there really like something that I want to accomplish? Because a lot of the time it's like, I don't know, do I want to get a group of people and be like, hey, like we all agree on this certain thing and that's sort of it? Do I want to be like change everybody's mind? But then like, it's just a lot of work. Not even a lot of work. I don't even think that's like, I don't know if it's not right, but it doesn't even, I don't know, it doesn't really feel like I don't know. It's just icky, changing people's minds. I feel like that's just feeding into controlling people, and I feel like you can't really. I don't really want to be in a position where I'm like, oh, I'm controlling people. But I don't know, man. I'm just rambling at this point. Anyways, just had some Chipotle and thinking about getting some Reese's from Target, but hopefully not, because I'm cutting. Been going to the gym a lot, which is great. I'm doing my personal training, which is great. And yeah, dog. Callie's been treating me nice. And I don't know. I really don't know. Those are the only words. Comment, like, subscribe. Thanks for y'all who engage in these videos. Really means a lot. I just, I think part of this too is just I do want some sort of community. Like, I do want to build some sort of like-mindedness of people around me. And I don't always want this to be a one way. I want it to be multi, everybody kind of chatting. But at the same time, I'm like, what does this world become, and what does communication become? A lot of it is just one-way communication now, influencers, and then sometimes I don't even like conversations anymore, honestly, dog. Like, it just feels so futile. There's that word again. I just feel like conversations are so dull, boring. I don't know. Maybe it's like I'm trying to get something out of it. Maybe it's like, yeah, I just feel like when I'm talking to somebody, it's just like, ugh. It's like, yeah, like, it gets the most interesting conversations I have where it's like, you're discussing new ideas and new ways of viewing life and ideas that you have. But I feel like there's always like a surface level to every conversation where it's like, oh, at least for me, it's like I always kind of filter. I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to say anything. Because words are weird, and words are weirdly powerful, and you end up saying something to make somebody feel bad. And like, you can say words and make somebody feel sick and throw up. Like, just like, that's mind control. Like, you can say words, and that's why people get arrested for words. Because it is mind control. So that's why I was like writing these songs. Like, I imagine a world where nobody speaks. We only communicate through our actions. Because I feel like our eyes are already communicating. All right. See y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.